Hello and welcome or welcome back. My name is Reb, and if you're new here, I am an artist based in Texas. I work in all kinds of media, and today we're going to look at a couple things that I've recently picked up at the art store. Let's take a look at what I got. First up is this. I ordered a couple of inks from this little pen store. I have one Noodler's ink and I really enjoy it, so I thought that I would get a couple more. I picked a couple colors that I thought sounded interesting. They're going to be going into some Sailor Fude pens. I really enjoy drawing with those, urban sketching and otherwise, so I thought that I'd kind of up my collection a little bit and have a couple extras. So we got Habanero, which is an orange ink, and Rome, which is kind of an olivey, bronzy color. Let's open this one first. Always really like their packaging. So yeah, this is a really kind of dark, rusty kind of orange, at least from what I could see. Oh wow. Very pretty. It's also very full. Gonna grab a little brush really quick. Hope you can see that. It's very pretty. This is basically my favorite color, like a reddish orange, so that's why I picked this one. I think that's really gonna look pretty in a Fude pen. So yeah, as you can see, a nice kind of rusty, darker orange. It bled through just the tiniest amount with a fairly good amount of ink. So I think that if I'm writing with a Fude pen, it'll probably be fine. I am curious to see how bulletproof, so to speak, it is. Looks like not. But I don't remember it being advertised as such, so it's totally okay. And I don't know how much. No. Yeah, it does look like it bleeds a little bit. And that the color that it kind of bleeds into is more of a yellow, which is kind of nice. So yeah, I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with that. Maybe not using it for watercolor ink washes or something, but just for general sketching, I think that should be really fun. All right, so let's take a look at the next ink. And this one is called Rome is Burning, I think. It just says Rome on the packaging. So this one's supposed to be kind of, it said something like Roman bronze coins and imperial purple, I think is what it said, which I'm curious to see where the purple comes in. But we will find out. Okay, so this one is pretty dark, kind of chocolatey brown. Let's see what color it actually paints like. Just making sure I get all the yellow out. One thing I like about these Noodler inks is that they really like fill up these jars. Okay, so it's pretty dark, which is good because I wanted something that was dark, like, but not quite black. Oh wow, it really does kind of shift almost immediately into more of a kind of bronzy color. I'm really curious as to how that's going to look in the pen. Not really seeing any purple other than kind of a initial color. Let's see what it does when it gets wet. Add a little more water too. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm seeing some purple there. Looks like when it bleeds, it like shifts kind of into like a purple. Oh wow. Okay, that's kind of interesting. It's probably going to be pretty hard for you guys to see it, but I really love the color shifting that it's doing. It's almost like it's oxidizing or something. I'm curious. Oh, wow. Oh, now you can really see that purple. That is so cool. That is really neat. Okay. Well, I'm going to have a lot of fun with that, both in the pen and I think just using it to paint with. So that's going to be really fun. Let's set this aside for a sec. Let me close this jar so that we don't have some sort of ink catastrophe. So next up is these, which is for these inks. I got 2 Fude pens. I got the standard, I think 55 angle, which is like the one that I have. And then I decided to try out the, 40. Which just has like a slightly different angle nib. I don't know, let me open both of them so you can see. It's slight, but you can definitely see the difference there. Hopefully you can see the difference. So yeah, just really curious as to like how those are going to differ when you draw with them. I don't know which one I'll put in which. That's going to be probably kind of a tough choice. And I got some converters as well, these little guys. So that's to put in my own inks for those. All right, and then I got this little guy right here. So I've been wanting to try this for a long time, and I decided to just go ahead and bite the bullet. They're not that expensive, but it's just kind of a fun thing to play with. And that is, let's open this up. Ta-da! Well, you can't really see what it is, but it is a glass dip pen. It's really in there. Pretty cool looking. So I got the glass dip pen, and this particular set came with some fluorescent ink and I guess a flashlight. This is probably like a UV flashlight. It probably doesn't have any batteries, but yeah, just thought that I'd get some ink colors that I didn't already have. And then this set, like I said, wasn't that expensive. It even comes with a invisible ink, which is kind of cool. So I'll be looking forward to using that. And I don't know, I just thought it'd be fun to try these out. Obviously, I can use this with any ink, which I may try it right now with some of this Noodler's ink and see what it does. But yeah, the little grooves hold the ink, and it writes for a pretty good long time as far as I heard. It feels pretty smooth. I do feel like maybe a little bit of roughness there, so we'll see how I feel about it when I start writing. I have a little bit of a sensitivity to like scratchy noises or like scratchy feelings. So we'll see how that goes. Let's try one of these inks, and then we'll try some of the other one. Try this little like bright yellow one. That's on tight. I don't know if I'm supposed to just like dip it in here. I'm definitely gonna spill this. I already got some ink on me. Ooh, that is bright. Note to self, very messy. Alright, hopefully you guys can see this. Definitely feel a little bit of scratchiness. Didn't have like super high expectations for a pen that costs like, I don't know, I think it was like $10 or $15 or something like that. But it feels fine. It's not too bad. I'm going to try it with one of these Noodler's inks. That looks like blood. Pretty cool. I'm curious as to like how long it will actually write for. It's going for a pretty good amount of time there. Oh. It really holds quite a lot of ink, surprisingly. It's pretty crazy. I guess I'm going to put it back in the box so that I don't destroy it immediately. So yeah, so that is the little glass dip pen. I also picked up this, which is just a little watercolor palette. I wanted one of these. I figured that it was time to kind of upgrade what I have. I've always used like a little makeshift one that didn't really offer any mixing space. So I wanted one that had some trays for mixing. This one's got two nice large little wells here, and then a couple little small ones. And then the pans that, you know, can be interchanged and taken out. I have a whole box of Shinhan Pass, or Shinhan, I think it's, I don't know, Shinhan watercolors that I thrifted recently. And I think I'm just going to make like a careful selection of those colors to fill these pans. And then a couple other random tubes that I also think I'll incorporate in here. So yeah, looking forward to filling this with some cool colors and kind of making this my to-go watercolor tin to go along with my little to-go gouache tin. And I know that the little travel brushes that I have will fit in here, but I don't know if I'll necessarily use this one or these for this, because I think these are really more designed for like acrylic or gouache, you know, something a little stiffer. So we'll see, but they do fit in here, which is nice. I think I can even put two maybe. Yeah, so there's that. And then I picked up one more palette. This one is just a kind of cheap one, but it's like a sort of airtight one that I want to use this for oil paint. And tell me in the comments if that's a terrible idea. But I have this pochade box that I've been kind of fixing up a little bit. And I want to put some oil paint in it because, you know, I don't want to take a bunch of tubes with me. And I figured that these wells would be a little bit bigger. So I'm going to try that out. This thing fits like well in there, and it like sits just high enough to where it's not going to interfere with the paintings when I close the pochade box. So I think this is going to work out pretty nicely. I'll probably destroy it with the oil paint, but this was only a couple bucks, so I'm not too worried about it. And that lid does snap on there pretty tight. So yeah, this is going to be for my upcoming oil painting adventures. All right, so let's put up all these inks and get all of this out of the way so that I can show you the last thing that I got, or last things. If y'all needed any further proof that this is my favorite color. Look how similar this ink and this little tin is. Crazy. All right, next up. So a while back I was going through my storage unit and found a bunch of like old art supplies from like way back when I was in like introductory art school or whatever. And I found this, and this is for like dry point etching and that kind of thing. You know, copper plate and that kind of stuff. And, you know, I've had this thing and I was thinking, I really want to try that again because it's an interesting process. It's kind of completely the opposite of lino cut, where anywhere where you draw with this or carve into the surface, that's where it will be dark. So you're basically just drawing with this like sharp implement. So I wanted to try this like process that I've been seeing. It's been out for a while, but people carving on something called Tetra Pak, which is what stuff like this is made out of. And you can tell because on the bottom, it actually says Tetra Pak. So I had a friend save me a couple of these little Tetra Pak containers. And I'm just going to try it out. I have a pasta machine that I don't use for pasta. So I'm going to turn that into like a little mini press. And, you know, obviously I'll show you a video of all of it. But all of this happened, you know, relatively recently. And I went to my local art store just to kind of look around, check it out. I love to go and get some coffee and go to the art store. So while I was there, I found this ink. Let me pull this all over so you can see. One of which has spilled a little bit, but that's okay. We'll clean it off. But yeah, it's Intaglio ink. I tried to do the process, you know, that I'd seen with some like lino cut ink, and it did not work. You really need like a specific ink for it. And these just happen to be on clearance. So it's actually half off of the price on the tag. So they came out to $7 each. So I ended up getting 3 of them. They didn't have any black, but that's totally fine by me. So I picked up this like really bright orange color. This almost black, but it's actually phthalo green. And this really dark kind of quinacridone magenta, which I feel like I can mix up, you know, in varying degrees and get some interesting colors. So looking forward to trying that. I guess since I'm going to clean this off, let me move these over. And just show you a little bit. So that's the ink. I think really any kind of shiny like package works. And you know, just carve into it. I'm just gonna make a couple little lines, do a little harder scrape here. I don't know if this is actually gonna work. We're gonna find out. It's just to give you the general idea of how it all kind of works. All right. And there you go. So basically, it's like really faithful. The more like disturbed the area is, the more ink it holds. So like this was a pretty light scraping. This was a lot heavier scraping. This was a really light scraping that I really didn't go over very well. And then you can also see like the edge of the paper where it was torn. That also captured. So I think it's going to lead to some like really interesting results. I think the Tetra Pak probably works a lot better than this because I think it'll kind of hold the ink a little bit better. And you can also like, you know, not wipe it as well, leave a little bit more tone overall, and then go back in and like get really like some nice highlights if you like really scrub. So I'm excited about trying this little process and seeing what those other inks look like. So yeah, that's my little art haul. If you guys have enjoyed seeing these new materials and want to see how I use them, don't forget to subscribe so that you can follow along with all of my experimentations. If you are part of the, 700 subscribers, thank you for being here. So I will catch you guys on the next video.